You are listening to Zen and the Art of Triathlon.
Well, hey there, all you Tri freaks and geeks, and welcome to another great episode of Zen and the Art of Triathlon, the podcast where we talk and do ultra endurance sports. And I take you along with me, and we learn a lot about ourselves along the way. All right, let's go ahead and mention who the interview is this week. We got Luke Tibursky back on the show, recapping his ultimate triathlon. This guy is both crazy and awesome. He did a 12-day long triathlon where he swam the Strait of Gibraltar. Then he biked across Spain, the coastline of Spain, along the Mediterranean to the border of France. And then the plan was to run from one border of France to the other along the Mediterranean. So swim the Gibraltar Strait, bike Spain, run France, all along the coastline. And it's really fascinating what happened as he was going along and how he handled it, and how he overcame some major obstacles that came up. So this is really good stuff, because this teaches us how to plan big and how to execute and how to stick with something. And this was recorded pretty soon after I did my own self-supported Ultraman, which is a 3-day long mega triathlon in its own right. And I was really fascinated at how this guy did this, and it's super cool. So I'm excited to bring that to you. But let's go ahead and pop off some triathlon news. Here we go. Okay, first in the news, we have two big bike stories. Andy Potts, who is probably the fastest American male in the triathlon circuit right now. I think he was the fastest American male at Kona. He just switched bike sponsors to Cannondale. I believe he was with Kestrel. And the interesting thing here is, if you look at Cannondale's bike lineup, there doesn't really seem to be one of these super bikes like the Cervelo P5 or the Scott Plasma. These bikes that have just a lot of aerodynamic trailing edges and wing shapes and stuff like that. Cannondale's bikes look like I grew up. I didn't grow up, but I used to ride mountain bikes a lot and had 2 or 3 Cannondales. I love Cannondales, but they just don't have something in the superbike lineup. And this is a great opportunity for Cannondale to release a superbike. So I predict that they will have something really sleek and gorgeous. Maybe this spring, maybe this summer. Maybe we'll see Andy Potts on something fantastic. And I remember doing Galveston and Andy Potts running by me like I was standing still. It was pretty impressive. So the guy is all around a really great guy. And he also sets a standard for why it's okay to ride on the trainer a lot. He rides on the trainer indoors. I believe he lives in Colorado a lot. In fact, almost all of his rides are on the trainer, because you get such great results on the trainer. An hour on the trainer is like an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half out on the open road. It's really crazy. And if he does it and gets such great results, then you can do it too. So keep your eye out for Andy Potts. In sad news, the other half of this bike story is Guru has gone kaput with bankruptcy. And they made bikes, I believe, but they're definitely out of Canada, maybe in the Montreal area. I'm trying to remember which city they're out of. But they were really innovative and made kick-ass bikes for a long time. And they just went bankrupt. They made everything in shop. So they made all their bikes, all different kinds of bikes. I think it was in a 6,000 square foot facility. It was a really neat operation, and so many people are sad to see them go. But their business model, I guess, just couldn't compete with other bike brands. And that also reminds me of Griffin. Griffin was such a cool bike company where they I think I interviewed them one time, many, many years ago, and they went out of business, I believe. They used a ceramic alloy for their frame material, which was warranted for life to never crack or anything like that. And it was kick ass. This is the same material that was used to make tank treads and Apache helicopter seat frames. It's like really lightweight, super, super strong. And to bend it and fold it and stuff, they had to chill it. It was like, had some reverse properties. So, yeah, innovation is awesome in cycling, and cycling is full of it all over the place. And it's sad to see an innovator go. Again, Guru, bankrupt. Lots of that online you can go check out. And let's see, we have a triathlon going on in Dubai. I'm not sure, do they call it Tri Dubai anymore? But there's a Dubai 70.3 coming up this weekend. And that's a big deal with the racing circuit. That might be part of the Triple Crown Series again, where you could win $1 million if you won all three. I think it's Dubai, Bahrain, and maybe something in Australia they might do for the other race, because Oman has some strife going on. And lastly, I was getting some tweets from somebody that I'd never met before, a Jocelyn McCauley, and asking if I wanted to go for a run with her. And I figured, she's just a show fan, and maybe just getting into triathlon. The ZenTri podcast attracts a lot of people that are just middle of the packers, just trying to get it done, just age groupers. You and me, just trying to get faster, trying to get better, and people that hadn't even done a half Ironman or an Ironman yet, and no plans to, so I didn't think much of it. I was just like, yeah, let's go for a jog. She said she was in kind of traveling back and forth between the Woodlands, Houston, and College Station for some reason. I didn't really know why, and but maybe we could go run. And we set up one run, and then that didn't happen because of schedule conflict. And then the next weekend, she swung by, and we went for a run. And first thing I noticed is she was younger than I thought. Second thing I noticed, she looked like she was about 25, 28 or something like that. Second thing I noticed was she was wearing a full cycling kit with logos all over it. And I was like, that's pretty interesting. And said she just came back from riding with a whole bunch of friends in the Woodlands at a training camp. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty interesting. And then what was the third thing? Well, there's one third big thing that I noticed is when we started off running together. Oh, she was so modest too, right? Emily was asking her, so like, have you done any races, stuff? And she was like, oh yeah, I've done, something, this, that, and the other. I wasn't really paying attention. I was like trying to get my shoes and my water bottle together. And we were only going to run like half an hour or something. So, I was just trying to leash up the dog. I don't know what I was trying to do, but I didn't catch part of the conversation. So anyway, we get out in the street and we start jogging down the street, and she was one of these runners like John Hirsch, where they bounce along like a kangaroo, boing to boing like that, way ahead of me. And I was like, holy crap, I need to speed up, right? And then we're running, and we get about a quarter mile into the jog, and I say, so have you done any Ironmans yet? And she said, oh yeah, I've done, I did Ironman Texas. I said, oh really? How'd you do? And she goes, well, I got first overall age grouper. I think she said first or second. And I was like, whoa, that record scratch. I'm like, whoa. What? And then she qualified for Kona, of course, and then she got first or second age grouper at Kona, and I was like, what? And then now she's a pro, and I think that was back in 2014 when she had these really good age group results, and now she's a pro, and trying to make it as a pro. And she was in Houston for the training camp, lives in Cincinnati, Ohio right now with her husband and the baby, like a 2-year-old baby. So during all this Kona qualifying and winning stuff, she was right after having a baby, I think. And then her grandparents, she grew up in College Station where I live, and her grandparents were watching the baby here in College Station while she was over in Houston, which is just an hour away for this in the Woodlands, to do this big training camp. And I said, is that perchance the big training camp, the Magnolia Masters swim team thing and all that? And she said, yeah. And I was like, holy crap, that's a real freaking training camp with real pros. Like, this is the real deal. And so it was just really, really funny, is you never know who you're talking to and who's done what. And I was really blown away. And so she said she's been listening to some episodes, and she's excited to actually come on the show and talk with us about, I don't know, just being a female pro and going pro and what she did. And I'm always interested in nutrition and going for the long course stuff. And she's doing Tri Dubai this weekend, and again, I don't know if it's Tri Dubai or just Dubai 70.3, and she's doing that this weekend, and that'll be a really big deal. So that'll be the second. That'll be the female. We had this year's male overall amateur winner be on the show a few episodes ago, an interview with him, and then now Jocelyn McCauley. Let me make sure I got her last name right. I got a little pop-up here that's blocking her name. Jocelyn McCauley, and she is super cool, easy to talk to, so I really look forward to having her on the show. And hopefully, in an upcoming episode, I get the guy who won Ultraman overall in Hawaii. He seems to be a really cool, laid-back guy, and wanting to chat about fun stuff, like how in the world he did that. That's crazy. Anyway, and we can compare notes. It'll be a lot of fun. All right, let's go ahead and get started with our interview with Luke Tibursky and find out all about how to go 12 days long at the ultimate triathlon in the Mediterranean. Here we go.
Welcome to the next level.
Luke,
G'day, Brett.
how's it going, mate?
And sorry I'm a bit late.
Oh, that's cool. Totally cool.
I'm blaming LA traffic.
Well, you wouldn't be the only one.
No, exactly.
You were telling me that you used to live in LA? When was that?
I used to live in San Francisco,
that's right.
2006.
Yeah. Cool. So, what are you doing in LA today, man?
Just chilling out today, but I've been over here just promoting the Ultimate Triathlon. I had a few talks lined up because I'm talking about a lot now, doing a lot of motivational speaking stuff.
Yeah, cool.
A few meetings and just come and hang out with some mates that I have living over here.
All right. Well, cool. We have Luke Tibursky with us, who is the guy behind the Ultimate Triathlon. And we'll cover the distances in a second. You'll have to tell me again because they're so huge that I don't have them off the top of my head. But theultimatetriathlon.co, right?
Yep.
And a really cool website where you, I was really impressed right from the beginning about how you had everything all mapped out, and all signs indicated that you were going to finish this no matter what. So,
yep,
yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah, and so if people want to listen, they can go back a few episodes. When did we talk last on the show? Like in the spring, maybe? You were training for this?
Something like that.
Yeah, and so the swim is across the Gibraltar Strait, and then bike across southern Spain, and then run across southern France, right?
That was the plan.
That was the plan, yeah. And with no prior triathlon experience.
I did one triathlon.
Oh, you did? Okay. What was that?
A really extreme triathlon, a double Ironman distance in North Wales. Took me 35 hours because it was quite hilly.
That is a lot of experience.
But that's the only one. It's the only one.
Well, that's like 10 triathlons right there. That you did the double in Wales?
Yeah, it had 15,000 feet worth of vertical gain on the bike and 10,000 on the run.
Oh my God, man. Okay, I'd forgotten about that. You must have told me before. And
I only bought a bike like 3 years ago.
God, that is crazy, man. That's a whole show interview in itself, how that thing went. But okay, so tell us again, the Ultimate Triathlon. What was it exactly? What was your plan, and then what happened?
So the Ultimate Triathlon, the plan was to swim from Morocco to Spain.
Okay.
Across the Gibraltar Strait, which should have been around 10 to 12 miles.
Yeah.
And then it was to cycle, as you said, the southeast coast of Spain, which is about 850 miles,
Jeez.
and then run the equivalent of 14 marathons in 7 days across the south of France, finishing Monaco.
I'm getting an internet issue. Oh, wait, it slowed down for a second. Okay, say the run part again. Sorry about that.
So the run part from the Spanish-French border was the equivalent of 14 marathons over 7 days. So the entire thing was 1,250 miles over 12 days. That was the plan.
Okay. And so people don't know. If people know, they already know what happened. But let's not say what happened and then just start from day one. Because I know on day one you did finish. So
so just to make it clear, I did 1,250 miles in 12 days, and I went. Yeah. I was at Monaco, and I did go to from Morocco to Monaco. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, but I saw that even during the swim, there was like a big switch that you had to make because of crazy stuff going on, right? So, what happened?
So I've spoken to this company that does the swims across the Gibraltar Strait for about 2.5 years. And I said, I want to swim from Morocco to Spain. Yeah. And they went, okay, that's fine. We normally go Spain to Morocco because it's slightly more favorable, but we can do that. It's just a lot more harder because of the currents. And I said, okay, that's fine. I get down there 2 days before I got to start, and they tell me that it's not only a lot more difficult to swim from Morocco to Spain, it's actually twice the distance because of the currents, and they start further down south of the sort of northwest of the Moroccan coast.
Okay.
And they were telling me I was going to swim like 20 miles. And I'm like, I've been training for 10 to 12. 20 is just way too much. So right there and then I had to quite literally just adapt to this spanner that was thrown in the works and just go, okay, fine, I'm going to now swim from Spain to Morocco, catch a boat back to Spain, and then continue on with the cycle that first day.
Yeah, almost doubling the distance in the swim is to 20 miles open ocean is ridiculous. Like, that's crazy. Yeah, that was a smart choice right there.
That was the only choice to do it, realistically.
Yeah, because that's the English Channel almost.
It's not just about spending the time in the water. It's the fact that I have a chunk of land that I have to aim for to hit to deem the swim, finished. Yeah. So if I miss that, then it's incomplete. So that was one of the big things about if I tried to do the 20-mile swim from Morocco to Spain, that was the main concern.
But how long does the boat ride take back when you did the boat ride back?
A lot quicker than the swim.
Yeah.
So I jumped in the water.
Yeah, tell me about the swim. Yeah.
Yeah, the most southern tip of Spain. And the water was nice. It was like mid-70s. I had a wetsuit on, so that was fine.
Yeah.
And it was a bit rough, a bit choppy. Quite, the swell was rolling, and I basically got hit with a really strong current after a couple of hours, and I had to sprint basically non-stop to try and break through the current that was trying to drag me into the Mediterranean.
Right.
Now, that was the first sort of big hurdle I had to deal with, and that was horrible. I was breathing basically every 2 strokes. I couldn't get enough oxygen in because the lactate was building up, and I wasn't having fun. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
And then there's all these massive big shipping tankers around me that is bringing all the cargo cars and everything into the Mediterranean. So they're probably a few hundred meters away, but they look really close. So it's a bit daunting having all these massive big vessels around you.
Yeah.
But I just kept plowing through, and I got hit by another big current from hour 4 to hour 5, and I got yelled at to swim as fast as I could, and while I was in mid-stroke, I tried to yell out to the crew that was next to me on the boat that was guiding me along, I'm swimming as fast as I can. But it clearly wasn't fast enough. So I did that, and then basically I got really close to the land and just had to push for that a little bit longer, and I got through the currents, and I touched Moroccan soil and actually stood on Moroccan soil just on this little sort of rocky shelf, this rocky plateau at the edge of the water. After swimming for 5 hours and 11 minutes and covering 15 miles.
5 hours, 10 miles. Wait, 15 miles?
Yeah. So because of the current was dragging me into the Mediterranean, I sort of went south and then started to drift inland. So I covered 15 miles.
Wow. Cool. Okay, so that's crazy, man. I've been in this situation surfing where I had to paddle my ass off, or else I was going to get sucked out into God knows into some rocks. I remember that one time.
Yeah,
and that is terrifying when you're already tired. Yeah, the wow. So did you see any wildlife, or was it pretty much just?
Well, the Gibraltar Strait's known for its marine life.
Yeah.
Not sharks or anything like that, but there's loads of whale watching tours and dolphin watching tours and fishing and all this stuff. I saw nothing for 5 hours except a deep blue abyss underneath me.
Oh, yeah. Do you ever get scared, like, of the depth or anything like that, or tripped out because of the nothingness?
No, I made peace with myself that I'm in the middle of the ocean and whatever's there's there, and it's very deep and I won't see the bottom and I won't know what's underneath me, for further than 20, 30 meters. And I was fine. I knew where I was and I made peace with that a long time ago. So it was just a bit like, come on. I was even looking like really close to my face or far away, looking for like organisms in the water or plankton or something. I just saw nothing.
Nothing, yeah. That's crazy. What, did you know anybody on the boat, or was?
Yeah, so my crew, I had a crew of 4 people in total. One of my sponsors, 33 Shake, a real food nutrition company that's actually just becoming next week available in the US as well. So people should check that out.
Yeah.
And so 2 of the founding people of that company, they came along. My girlfriend, who's an osteopathy student and massage therapist, she came along to sort of keep me intact, and then a cameraman for a film crew that made a documentary
cool.
about it all, which will be out next year.
Yeah,
they were all there. So on the actual boat with me, there was only 2. There was one of them on there's a small boat literally by my side the entire way, and a bigger boat in front of me. So the cameraman was on the boat in front of me, and one of my crew members who was passing me food and stuff to eat every hour or every 2 hours was right next to me. So I knew the people, or at least 2 people on the boat, but the rest were just guys from Spain who did the crossings.
Yeah. So you say your girlfriend, so you managed to keep your girlfriend through all this, right? She's not your ex-girlfriend after you pulling this off, right?
No, she is still my girlfriend, and for some stupid reason that she was there for the entire trip, and she was putting toothpaste on my toothbrush for me in the mornings when I was laying in bed, and bringing me spit cups to spit into. And
oh man.
Yeah, so she took care of me like a little kid. A couple of days I couldn't even put my pants on, so she even helped me that. But we're still together, so I'm doing something right, clearly.
Some girls like taking care of a guy that's an absolute mess because of some athletic accomplishment, because it's their warrior, that they like. So
there you go. So yes, no, she was there. We're still together, so that's all right.
Okay, so then. Yeah, I want to get into the food again in a few minutes. But so you did the whole swim in one day.
Yeah,
right?
So 5 hours, 11 minutes. Jumped on the boat. It took about an hour to get back to Tarifa, where our base was, where I met up with the rest of my crew.
Right.
And that day I had 65 miles to cycle before I finished day 1.
Dang, dude. Okay, what time did you start in the morning on the bike or in the swim?
Just after 8:30, I think.
Okay. So what time did you finish day 1? Do you remember? Was the sun down yet, or you still had daylight?
Oh, yeah, it was dark. Yeah, it was dark. I finished around 11, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Okay, and this is getting really real all of a sudden, right? Okay, so then the day 2 bike ride, if you remember, what time did you start, and how many miles or kilometers did you have to go?
I started, I think, just after 7, and I ended up cycling 230 miles.
Damn.
Yeah, so I know it's 360 kilometers, but I'm just trying to change it to miles. So about 230 miles, and it took me 17 hours and 18 minutes.
Now, did you have to do that distance that day, or that's as far as you went and you were just done for the
No,
day?
so every day we had a plan of where we were going to start and where we were going to finish, so I could get the 1,250 miles in 12 days in, and that was a designated finishing place for that day.
Now, do you think you could have done it on your own without those numbers already planted in your head, or if you just went by feel, or do you think that it was a good thing that you had these numbers, like I'm going to do this many miles this day and this many miles the next day?
For me, like, yes, I could have done it if we were just trying to wing it, but for me, I like having a number there, whether it's a massive number like 230 miles today after you did it, you swam from Europe to Africa and then cycled 65.
Yeah.
But I play a bit of a game. It's a bit of a target to hit, So that's that's my bar for the day. And if I don't hit that bar, then I'll be disappointed. So I do everything possibly to get there. So no, it was good.
Okay, so let's talk about back to the nutrition. What did you eat at night, and then what did you eat during the day while you were swimming and riding, and then eventually running?
Yeah, okay. So basically, my breakfast was the same. The best way to go was to do breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then during the day.
Uh-huh.
Breakfast was the same every day. I would have an avocado or two mashed up with some olive oil and some coconut oil, thrown in a 33 shake, which is basically 33 superfood ingredients, all natural and everything. You look on the back of the packet and all the ingredients.
Right.
And use them. They're one of my sponsors. And also other superfoods, so extra spirulina, cinnamon, turmeric, seeds, nuts, all that type of stuff, mashed up with avocado, so it looks like a green, gloopy mess, but really nutrient dense, really tasty. And I eat that for breakfast at home normally, so just made it a bit more bulkier, and I'd have that for breakfast every day.
Right.
So that's cool. And then lunch and dinner, we would sort of cruise along, and we would normally say lunchtime, let's stop anywhere between sort of 1 and 2, but when we'd see my crew that was leapfrogging ahead of me, I'd say, oh, let's have lunch in an hour, and that's okay. Then they'd drive up the road and make me a massive, big, bulky salad with all fresh vegetables that they bought in the area, either farmers markets or like a supermarket, something like that. Bulked up salad with seeds and nuts and roasted veggies if we had some of them. Sometimes throughout the south of Spain, we got some Iberico ham, which is from the Iberico pig, so known for the area on there. So, really fresh, cured ham.
Right.
Chickpeas, lentils, so legumes and things like this. So really bulked up salad. And I'd have one of those for lunch and one of those for dinner. So it was just like at home. That was nice.
Yeah.
And then on the bike and on the run, I would have 33 shake chia energy gels, which are with the company that I work with, it's basically 4 ingredients: chia seeds, Himalayan pink salt, coconut palm sugar, and Madagascan vanilla extracts. Put some water in there, shake it up. 10 minutes later, you've got like a gel, and it's 4 ingredients, and it's real food. And so I would have them every couple of hours, a bit more seeds, a bit more nuts, random stuff. Like I felt like some carrots, so I put some carrots in my jersey pocket and just chomped on them for a while.
Yeah, those taste good. I ate some fresh carrots a couple days ago, like cooking something. They're so sweet. People forget about that. Carrots are really sweet. Good one.
Vegetables. So that's basically, like, people may try and think of that I eat something special, but that's basically what I ate every day, and that's really what I eat at home most days. So I just ate a lot more, obviously, but I would have a breakfast before I left, lunch somewhere sort of 5 hours or so into it, and then dinner, a couple of hours before I finished, and that was it.
All right, I want to take a quick break in this interview to give a shout out to a sponsor, Amrita Bars. Man, it is cold outside and you need good fuel that's not hard to chew on. I just closed the car door. You can hear me driving along here because I'm scraping ice off my windshield, even down here in central Texas. It's cold, got ice on the windshield, and I had an Amrita bar this morning, and I had a Cliff bar the other day and got it out of my car, And I was actually shocked. Last episode I said, because Arshad, the owner of Amrita Bars, said something about that the other bars tend to get hard to chew on when it's cold outside. And I got a Cliff Bar out of my car. I was sitting in my car and chewed on it. It was like a freaking brick. I almost broke my teeth. And I also got out an Amrita Bar the next day, and it was so soft and chewy and yummy. So check out Amrita Bars. They do not get hard in this cold, nasty weather. And you people that live where you get ice all over your windshield and you can't see crap, man, y'all people are crazy. How do y'all deal with this, man? I'm so thankful. Sometimes I'm mad at my parents for moving to Texas and raising me in Texas, because now I'm stuck in Texas. But other times I'm like, thank God we moved away from Ohio. Oh my God. When I was a little kid in Ohio, I remember having to get all bundled up like the kid in the Christmas Story, the kids, where I couldn't even move my arms. And my brother and I, we would go outside and play on a sled in the snow. And when I was a kid, probably in like 1975, 1976, the Ohio River froze over completely, and this is in Cincinnati, and people were driving across it in cars and stuff. It's pretty crazy. But anyway, Amrita Bars, check them out. You go to Amrita, Amrita, AmritaHealthFoods.com, and use discount code ZEN2016, ZEN2016, and get a nice chunk of change off of the coolest, healthiest, chewiest, yummiest bars in the world. I freaking love them. I was on the bike this morning on the trainer, and I grabbed an Amrita bar before I got on the trainer, because I was like, I had that feeling, I'm like, am I not gonna make it through this ride without being miserable? And I got about 30 minutes in, and I was like, you know what, man, I could really use some carbs. So I popped it open. It's got carbs and fat and protein, all kinds of good stuff, and it's vegan, and I think it's gluten-free too. And it's also, if you got nut allergies, they use seeds instead of nuts. It's really cool. So you can pop open the end of the wrapper and just take a bite. So I ate about a quarter of the Amrita bar and chewed on it, drank some water with it, and boom, felt really good really quickly. And it was a nice solid energy, not a big drop. So again, AmritaHealthFoods.com. Get your Amrita bars at with discount code ZEN2016, and they have a whole bunch of other cool stuff too. And I think the discount code works on all kinds of cool stuff. They have a really cool logo, so you can get jerseys and socks and shoes. And then also, I wanted to give a quick shout out to Chris Hague Racing. Chris Hague is a coach, Hague. He's a good friend of mine. I love this guy, and I'm always promoting other coaches, because I think we share a network. If you don't like your current coach, you can always go try another one and find one. It's all about attitude and a coach that's inspiring. And Chris Hague is definitely that. Check him out, chrishague.com, Chris Hague Coaching. And he ran track at Sewanee, University of the South at Sewanee. And I almost swam there. Really good school. And really great attitude, nice guy. So check him out. All right, let's go ahead and get back to the interview. Here we go. Go, Luke. Okay, what about, how did you stay on top of like your weight and hydration? Like, did you weigh yourself? I found when I did something long recently, weighing myself every day was critical, because then I knew that I was getting too light or needed to drink up more. Were you doing that? Did you have a scale with you every day, or what?
I did have scales with me every day, and after the first few days, my weight was pretty much, I didn't lose any weight, I didn't gain any weight, everything was perfect. And also, because I'm quite lean as well, I know sort of, I can feel around my body and go, well, I think I'm a bit lean, or this and that, or I'm not eating enough, or I'm not hydrating enough, and I wake up in the morning or even that late in the afternoon, if I've got a bit of a fuzzy head or whatever, I know I have to drink a bit more. But no, I've been doing long stuff now for it's only been like 3.5 years, but I've gone straight into doing really long stuff, so I've got to learn my body pretty well. And I did have some, because it was, it was a bit warmer than in the UK down along that area of the world. It was sort of, some days got into the 80s, mid to high 80s, but most of it was sort of late 70s, early 80s. So, I was sipping on a bit of electrolyte here and there, but I wouldn't say every drink bottle I had or every bottle I had was electrolytes, just one or two a day. And if it was a bit warm, then I'd have an extra one. But just really listening to my body, which I've done over the last few years, and really used my body as an experiment with what works and in what conditions, and to know what I need and what I don't need.
Yeah. And you train so much for this, right? You kind of know what's going on with day to day. Yeah. Okay. So you're biking along.
I'll tell you something about my training. My biggest training block for this was about 8 weeks before I started, and I did 50 hours of training in 6 days.
Dang. Wow.
And there's a video on my website, just a short little clip. I think it lasts like 50 seconds or a minute or something like that, just to give you a clip of every day and what I did. So
that's crazy. That's a ton, man. Just to pull that off is amazing. Wow.
I felt great at the end of it. It was awesome.
Yeah. Holy cow. Did you do any interval work during that at all? Was it all just like super easy?
I wouldn't say it was all super easy. I'd chuck a few bits of intervals in, just to, not structured, but just to make it a bit fun. So I basically did a big bike and a short ocean swim, a long ocean swim, and a big bike, and then a big run and a swim, and then 2 runs. And the big bikes were 140 miles each go, and the big runs were 40 miles. But I'd be running and go along, go, okay, this hill, I'm going to run up this hill a bit quicker, or to the next telegraph pole, I'm just going to increase my pace, just to mix it up, but not actually structured.
Golly, a 50-hour training week. That's crazy. That's awesome. Okay, so you're cruising along on the bike, and what was it like biking along? Was it Spain? You're biking along in Spain, and I've biked a bunch in Spain one time. I did a training camp there. It's beautiful. Everybody's really nice, right? Did you have that same experience? Like, it was just tons of fun?
Yeah, it was lovely. A lot of the times I was on the coast, so you could see the Mediterranean, nice blue glistening water, and a few little climbs here and there, but nothing too major, but just enough to sting the legs and make it interesting. But it's just a really beautiful country, and we went through a few areas where it was a bit like barren, a bit desert-like even, but you could see the coast on the horizon, so it was really pretty.
Yeah. Wow. Did anything funny happen on your bike ride?
I passed out and don't remember cycling 3 hours at the end of day 3. And the next thing I knew, I woke up and I was in a hotel room bed. And I said to my crew, "How the hell did I get here?" And I had a headache.
Yeah. Now you got a race. Yeah, or an event, I guess.
Yeah. So basically, on day 3, I'd cycled about 190 miles in completion, but before then I had a walkie-talkie in my ear, and that's how I would communicate with the crew that was traveling in the van and leapfrogging me. But it was late into the night, maybe 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock about 11 o'clock on day 3. And at this stage I'd been going for about 48 hours of swimming and cycling over 3 days, off about 6 hours sleep in total over those 3 days. And I was pretty tired, and I remember getting tired, and I remember seeing these lights up ahead of me, and then the next thing I know, I woke up in a hotel room the next day. But apparently what happened was, I'd blanked out for a couple of hours. My crew were telling me to come off this main road, which they couldn't stop on, but I didn't get the message, and I kept going. And it just blanked out. I passed out. I was so tired, so exhausted, pushing myself, and I don't remember any of this. And my crew came up, saw me. I wasn't responsive. They were yelling out to me, nothing. They literally grabbed me on the bike. I didn't resist. They took me off the bike, put me in the back of the van, and apparently I just collapsed and I was passed out, and I was unconscious. I wasn't responsive or anything like that. So, and then they took me to the hotel and put me in bed, and I woke up the next day having no recollection of how I got there.
That's a little crazy. That's kind of out there, man. Have you heard the stories of the guy that used to race Ram, that he would hallucinate and stuff, and his crew would kind of go along with it to keep motivating him?
Yeah, I've heard that. I've hallucinated in different endurance events as well in the past, but I've not actually ever came to this point where my body is so tired, my body is so exhausted, it's just basically, and my mind was still with it and still pushing me, but my body just stopped and shut down.
That's crazy.
That's a whole another level.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So you bike all the way to the coast or to the border of France.
Yeah, I got in my 850 miles or whatever it was.
Yeah. And how many days was all that biking? 5 days?
Just over 4. So 4 long days, and then that little 65 miler on the first day after the swim.
Okay. And then, now, did you run the same day as your last bike, or did you just, you're done with the bike and you're taking a day, or you start running?
So the day I passed out on the bike and the guys ripped me off it,
Uh-huh.
up the next morning and I could barely stand up. I had no balance. I was exhausted, had no coordination, and I wanted to keep going. I wanted to get on the bike and cycle again. And the crew didn't want me to go, but I said I was the boss, and I jumped on, and I nearly crashed after cycling about 200 yards, and they said, no, they're forced a rest day.
Uh-huh.
So day 4 was actually a rest day.
Uh-huh.
So the reason why I'm telling you this was now for me to fulfill my challenge and finish the ultimate triathlon in 12 days, that meant I now had to run the equivalent of 14 marathons, not in 7 days, but in 6. So that was our target.
Okay. All right.
And the first day we set off, day after the bike, which I was really stoked about to get off the bike because my butt was so sore.
Yeah.
I'd strained my left hamstring, so I was cycling for the last 2 days really on one leg because it was pretty bad, especially going up any climbs.
Yeah. So how do you think
I was now injured, had that taped up.
How do you think?
And I started to run. It was good because it was a different type of loading. Biomechanics had changed, and I was enjoying it through these little villages in the south of France. You know, there's like very autumnal colours, so the oranges and the reds and the golds, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And the vineyards that I ran through was like really old, and it was just lovely little trails, lovely little roads that I was going along, and I ended up running 85k, so 53 miles. So I did 2 marathons that day, but what happened was at the end of that day, like on the bike, I started shutting down. So luckily at this stage, my girlfriend was with me. She does a bit of running as well. And she was with me, and I started to slow to a very slow shuffle. And I was still mumbling to myself, pushing myself, come on, Luke, keep going, keep running. Why are you stopping running? Keep going. I was saying all this stuff which I don't remember.
Right.
But she'd filled me in. And then I slowed to a walk, still saying, come on, keep running. And then she said I just stopped and collapsed face first on the side of the road after about 53 miles.
Okay.
And so she had to sort of grab the phone and call the crew, who were only about half a mile up the road. But I remember none of this. And the next thing I know, I woke up in a hotel room the next day, put my kit on and said, right, let's go. We're going to run again. And the aim was another 60 miles that day. And after only 30 miles, I think it was, I collapsed and passed out on the side of the road again, and they put me in the back of a van and took me to a hotel, and woke up the next day and ready to run again, except on that day I tore my quad, and this was pretty bad. I come from a soccer player's background. I played professionally throughout the world and this and that in a lower level, and I've torn many muscles and things, so I know what it's like. And this was up there with some of the worst that I had. I could actually feel the fibers of my quadricep pulling apart every time I ran. So after I'd passed out on those first 2 run days, I started running, but I couldn't actually run. I was hobbling. It was really bad. I could feel the quad tearing. And then after about 12 miles where I couldn't even run, I was actually just walking at this stage, I had to make a decision.
Yeah.
Now, I still had probably nearly 300 miles, just under 300 miles to get to Monaco.
Right.
And I had just over 3 days to do it, to hit my target of 12 days. And I had to figure out how I was going to do it. If I continued to walk, it would have taken me probably another 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, because my leg was hurting, I thought, oh, could I swim it? But clearly that that was not an option, and clearly I wasn't thinking straight at this point.
Yeah.
I made a decision that the only way I could finish the ultimate triathlon was I needed to adapt, and that was to get back on the bike and see if I could cycle one-legged the rest of the way.
Yeah.
And I got on the bike and had to do 40 miles, 40 miles that day, and that was the most excruciating. Well, it took me just over 4 hours for those. Just over 3 hours for those 40 miles.
Yeah.
Most excruciating 3 hours of the entire event, and up there with the most excruciating 3 hours of my athletic life. It was horrible.
Wow. Yeah, I'm covering my face right now and just like thinking about the pain.
So every time my foot was, it was in the cleat, but I wasn't driving. My left foot was all right-legged, so I was only using one leg. But every time my leg bent, it was like a sharp knife stabbing into my quad.
Yeah.
Every time I'd start to straighten it, I could feel like the sharp pain pulling out.
Yeah.
But because I'd strained my hamstring earlier, every time my hamstring went straight, so it was under stretch.
Yeah, you're alternating the...
Tighten up.
Yeah.
So it was like in a vice, like a really gripping feeling. So it was like a knife stabbing into my quad, and then the knife pulling out, and then a vice gripping my hamstring every revolution of the pedal.
Yeah.
So it was pretty horrible, but I got to the end of that day, and I basically fell off the bike. The guys grabbed me and took the bike out from underneath me. They had some crutches, so anytime I had to move, I was now on crutches because I couldn't put any weight on it.
Yeah.
And then basically went into the hotel and laid on the bed until the next morning, and I got up and I had 100 miles to cycle that day, so the third last day. And once again, gritted the teeth and mashed out 100 miles on the bike in 8 hours, and it was pretty brutal. And then there was just 2 days to go.
Only 2 more days. I got a question. You may not be able to answer this, but it's odd how this happens. How do you think that people tear muscles or pull ligaments and stuff like that when over long distance stuff, when you're not going, sprint, you're not sprinting, so you're not putting the body under what would be the maximum load it could handle. So how do you think that, and I know exactly what you're talking about, I've done this kind of thing too, where you've been going so long, you're tired, and then something will start to hurt, like you've pulled it or you're injuring it. How do you think that happens? How do you injure a quad when you're doing relatively an easy pace because you're going so long? What is that?
I can only really speak for me, and it could be a bit of a generalization people could take away from it. But the reason why I 99% sure, and my crew and my girlfriend who was my medical team believes the reason I tore my quad so bad, it actually started back on the bike when I strained my hamstring, because then I started to load differently when I cycled, and then I started to run differently because I had this ailment. Right. Now, to answer your question again, how would I strain a hamstring when I'm cycling? I'm not trying to sprint. I'm not trying to fly up hills.
Okay.
Well, in my opinion, for me, I think it was because the amount of loading I did in a short amount of time. So the same type of loading. So I'm just looking at the numbers I've got on my screen now. I did 37 hours of cycling in just over 2 days.
Yeah.
So I traveled with my bike. Maybe my bike seat was 0.5 millimeter off, or it was completely straight, or maybe something in my cleat wasn't the same. There could be something like this, or it could just be the fact that I did 37 hours in just over 2 days, and I'm not a machine. Maybe I was pulling up a hill somewhere different, and it just a few fibers went, and then that was the start of it. But for me, I think that's how the hamstring started. And then it's not like, I'll have a rest for 2 weeks and go again. I woke up the next day and cycled another 15 hours of cycling with this strained hamstring, and that's only going to make it worse. And then obviously I was loading different on the bike, and then when I started to run, then that's the reason why I felt like my quadricep went.
Okay, yeah, I see. So because you can't, your hamstring is what you pull up with on your left leg. Well, you can't do that as well now. So you're pushing down more with your right leg, which is your quad. And you may not notice the damage that does on the bike, but when you start to run like that, the fatigue in your quad that's built up, now you're trying to run on it and then snap, things start tearing.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you're trying to decelerate when you're running down a hill.
Yeah.
With the same, even if you had a few fibers separated, you're going downhill for hours and hours and hours, and then going uphill and trying to do a drive off a little bit, and then a few fibers separate, and then all of a sudden, boom, then a lot separate, and you actually start tearing it. So, in my opinion, with my sports science background and my experience with what I'm doing and what I've done in endurance sports, and also being a soccer player my whole life, that's makes sense to me, and that's where I've made my peace with it.
Yeah, I can totally see that happening. Yeah. Wow. Okay. This is crazy. Okay, so you got 2 more days left, right?
Yeah.
And now you're biking one-legged.
One-legged. I just done 100 miles on one leg, and I've got 65 miles to do each day.
Okay.
And quite hilly days, actually, to be honest. Well, there's 2 climbs on each day, and I couldn't. You can't cycle up a hill with only one leg when it's relatively steep. So you need to engage your other leg a little bit. So this was brutal. Absolutely brutal. I was yelling and screaming at the top of my lungs at myself.
Yeah.
Just because it was horrible, and at times I was just like, I don't care, suck it up, and I would attack the climb. Succeeded, but I would attack the climb and grip my teeth just because I could see the top was in another 100 meters and 3 switchbacks.
Yeah.
And go after it, and I could feel my quad going. I could feel my hamstring gripping tighter, but I just needed to get to the top. So.
Switchbacks, man. Oh my God, that's how steep it is, right? Switchbacks. Oh my God.
Some switchbacks, and then so I finished the second last day, and we're down right on the coast, so right on the south of France, near Cannes, which is quite a affluent area where the big film festival is, with the big super yachts and everything like that. So, well, then the final day was another 65 miles into Monaco. Now, I said to my crew, I'm not cycling into Monaco, I'm running. And they all went, what do you mean? I said, I don't care if it's 100 meters, I don't care if it's a mile, I don't care however, but you need to find somewhere to pull over just before the border. I'm going to give you my bike and I'm going to run into Monaco, because that's what I envisioned 3.5, 4 years ago when I made up this challenge, and that's what I'm going to do. And they said, well, you're going to use your crutches, because I'd been on crutches for the past 3 days when I wasn't on the bike. And I went, no, I'm not using any stupid crutches. I may have used slightly more colourful language, but we'll save that. And they went, well, you can't do that. And my girlfriend was really concerned, because everyone was concerned, actually, because I was pushing so hard on the bike that I'd actually do some long-term damage to my quad.
Yeah.
Then even if it's just 100 meters running, I could do some serious damage trying to run on that. So being stubborn and pulling out on the boss card, this is what I'm doing, this is it. They said, right, we'll find somewhere to stop. And so we're coming into Nice, which is a nice long flat area where there's a few climbs, and then you come down into Nice and it's pancake flat for probably 5 miles. And then you start the climb up and around the hills into Monaco. And it's really beautiful. You're right on the side of these cliffs, and it's nice windy roads, a few little up and down, rolling hills. But it's beautiful, overlooking the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
And then we were coming down and just about into Monaco, and I saw my crew on the side of the road just in this little car space. So I pulled over. Once again, they had to catch me on the bike, and they had to pull the bike out from underneath me because I couldn't swing my legs over.
Right.
I sat on the ground, and my girlfriend helped take my cleats off because I couldn't do that. I couldn't reach forward because of my hamstring, and it was hard to find the right balance of the level of flexion in my knee. So she put my shoes on for me, and she got changed into some running shorts, and I had about 150 meters to the Monaco border. And the start of Monaco is a roundabout, like the traffic island. and on the middle of it was this massive big rock sticking out of the grass, and it said Principort de Monaco, which means the principle of Monaco. And I hobbled down this street, and it was bad. There's actually a couple of videos on my websites now of like trailers for the Ultimate Triathlon for the documentary, and the second trailer, the celebration of the Ultimate Triathlon, it's called. You can see me actually hobbling at the end, and it was excruciating pain. It was. Yeah. I don't really remember much of it because the pain was that much. I'm just like, I've got to get to the end, and I ran across the traffic through the roundabout. Don't remember that, and saw this rock that just quite literally fell onto it, lips first, gave it a big kiss, and literally said to myself in my head, "You've done it. Well done. Now savor this moment, because as soon as you turn around, everything's going to change because you've finished the Ultimate Triathlon. Yeah. You're not just going to do it." And 1,250 miles in 12 days, Morocco to Monaco, done.
All under human power, triathlon style.
Yes, yeah. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And
that was it.
Golly, man, you've got me both wanting to do it and wanting to definitely never do it all at once. It's really hilly, man.
It was long, and although I didn't do as much running as I'd planned, and running is actually my strongest discipline. I've been a runner for 4 years. I've only been a cyclist for 3, and a swimmer for about 2.5. So so that was my strongest discipline. Disappointed I couldn't run along the way, but at the same time, what I take away from it, and what I do a lot of motivational speaking now, and trying to get talks all around the world from kids to CEOs to board of directors from different companies and things, is what I took away from it was I gave everything I possibly could every single day. I couldn't have worked physically harder.
Right.
And I did that, finished the Ultimate Triathlon, 1,250 miles in 12 days, because I didn't give up. And why didn't I give up? Because I adapted when things got thrown in my way. The swim, I had to swim in a different direction. I got injured, and I kept passing out. So I had to adapt to what was thrown at me, and I persevered with that. I didn't get upset that I had to get on the bike and not run. I said, well, this is the only way I could finish. So I worked my butt off to get to the finishing line, and at the same time, I kept my head up, and I looked around at the beautiful scenery, and I enjoyed the journey. So when I got to the end, I was like, you know what? I couldn't have done any more. I couldn't have worked any harder. Yeah. And I still achieved my goal of going from Morocco to Monaco and finishing the Ultimate Triathlon.
So I found that doing everything that you can is actually like the most rewarding feeling. Like you pushed yourself to your limit, and did it.
Well, I pushed myself to my limit, and in 3 of the days even further.
Yeah.
So... it's so rewarding, because you can think, well, I didn't do all that running. You think, well, okay, you didn't, but if you tried to, you wouldn't have finished, so you would have failed.
Yeah.
But you adapted, and you worked your butt off every single day how you could, and you did it. So it's really rewarding, and I don't say this very often, and my close circle of friends and family don't very rarely hear me say this, but I am proud of myself, because I worked my butt off every day, and I couldn't have worked any harder, and I still achieved a goal that I set 4 years ago now.
Yeah. So how do you feel about your bike? Did you hurl it into the ocean after all this, or did you keep it?
I kept it. I thought about throwing it, but it's...
I knew you did.
I did, but to be fair, when I got back to London, where I live, and I put it back together after a week, I left it there just in the corner. Yeah. I was actually, although I was on it for a very, very long time, I got that connection back. We all love our bikes. We have some weird connection with them, whether you're a guy or a girl, it doesn't matter. And putting it back together, it was almost like, right, here we go again. Yeah. You're going to be kind to me, and I'll put you back together nicely, and we'll go again in the future. But no, we're friends now. We had a little bit of an argument for a while there, but it's all good. We kissed and made up.
So, man, you put your bike together after you only waited a week to put your bike back together. That's pretty impressive.
Only because that was the only window I had, because I didn't have enough time beforehand. But yeah, why not?
Oh, I've done stuff where I don't want to see that piece of equipment for like a month. But yeah, okay. So Well, speaking on that, was there anything that you planned on using, like a piece of equipment or a piece of nutrition or something like that, that you ended up going, man, this does not work? And then on the flip side of that, was there something that you didn't expect to be wonderful, but it turned out to be amazing that you really like?
I'm going to be really boring and say nothing, because everything I used during the Ultimate Triathlon in terms of nutrition I'd used before, and it was tried and trusted, and I knew it was perfect, and any cravings I had was stuff that I normally eat, so that was cool. In terms of kits, I've cycled with my bike and the same kit that I was using for many big adventures in the past, and no, it was all good. Running stuff was amazing. Any random things, well, we're lucky we had a lot of Tupperware container in the van, because that's what we ate out of all the time. So that was pretty handy. But we had some of that already. No, I've been planning this for 4 years and trying to come up with things that I needed and asking people, what do you think I should do? What do you think of this? But there was nothing really spare of the moment that I wished I had or I took that was just pointless. Yeah. I wish I could come up with some random thing that was awesome, but I'd sort of planned it, and it all just
that's a sign of really good planning and training, that things weren't too different than what you thought they were going to be.
No, it was just how I finished it was completely different to what I thought.
Yeah, so talk about that, like how you felt when you were done. Like I did this Ultraman, a self-supported one recently, and it didn't hit me like what I had done and how good it felt until I think 3 days later. I had this overwhelming sensation all of a sudden of like, whoa, holy crap! I did a self-supported, major thing that I thought was just huge, and it hit me. Did it hit you like immediately, or did it take a while to sink in, or is it still sinking in? Are you getting like kind of waves of like, whoa, this is amazing, or not?
Yeah, it's been 5 weeks since I finished now, and I've done. I've been quite busy. I've done a lot of traveling, and it sort of hit me in waves, but nothing really major. It's really weird, because all of my friends and family who have been with me throughout this whole journey of planning this, they've all said, do you realise what you've done, and are you proud of yourself? And I said, yeah, I am proud of myself, and I know I've done something exceptional, where realistically there's probably only 1 or 2 people in the world that have done any sort of swim, bike and run thing like this. But I wouldn't say I sit there and actually understand what and to the degree of what I've achieved. I know I'm proud of myself of what I've done, but it's still slowly sinking in. And I think maybe I'm in the US at the moment. I've been here for just over a week doing some promotional stuff for the Ultimate Triathlon, and I was in Monaco for 3 days before I came here. Went back there, crazy enough, for an international forum with an organisation I'm doing some work with, and I was only back at home for like just over 2 weeks, because I spent a few days in France before I flew back. So I think once I'm back for Christmas and we sort of chill out and spend a bit of time with family, well, I'm hoping it'll sink in a bit more. But it's sort of coming in waves, and you talk to people, and I've had a few meetings with people and other athletes, some Olympic gold medal winning athletes in the US over here, and some other high profile trainers and athletes as well. And when they're excited to hear your stories and asking you and digging into your brain or this and that, and trying to get some feedback from me to help in their careers, you sort of sit back and think, wow, if these other highly accomplished athletes are listening to me and wanting to get some feedback from me, it's sort of hard to not think that I've achieved something that's pretty amazing.
I think one difficulty is because this is a unique thing, there's not enough people doing it where you could compare yourself, right, to them. Like, say if you did an Ironman, right? Well, even the guy that did like all these 50 Ironmans in a row, right? You could still, because Ironmans are such a common thing, you can compare that guy's time every day versus like somebody's one-off Ironman, right? Because you did something so unique, it's difficult to comprehend what actually it was, and it's more like, to even understand it, it's more like hours per day, so many days in a row is what you could tell a trainer or something, an expert, and then they would be like, holy shit, dude, you did, like, what do you think, like 15 hours a day, 20 hours a day, like every day for 12 days or something?
No, it totaled 100 I think 108 hours over 11 days.
Yeah. Okay. So that's basic.
But the thing is, I actually know James Lawrence, the guy that did the 50-50-50, and spoken to him.
Yeah. Okay.
And before and after, and in my opinion, it's because a couple of people have sort of mentioned us in the same sentence, and I said it's completely different, because one, his is 50 days, and that's just it's crazy incredible.
Yeah.
But it's completely different because he was loading his body into 3 different sports every day. So he was doing an hour or so in the swim and this and this bike. My first long bike day, I did 17 hours in the saddle, so my body was going to be fixed in that position. And then I did just under 17 hours the next day, and then I did just under 15 hours the following day. So that's all cycling. So, then you could compare it to a cyclist who's doing a big tour. Well, they wouldn't do that amount of hours
right
on the bike. So, yes, I did a swim, and then I'd cycle and did a bit of running, and then a bit more cycling again. But it's very different. And the only way you can look at it is hours per day. But then at hours per day, you go, well, hours per day, someone who did an Ironman does 3 different disciplines, and they're loading their body completely different for each one. So it's not actually, say they did a 14-hour Ironman, it's 14 hours over 3 different disciplines. Well, I was loading my body for 14 hours in one discipline.
Yeah.
And then my run day, I did 11 and a half hours of running one day.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So, there are some comparisons you can try, but as you said, no one's ever done, and I've researched, no one's ever done anything like this in this sort of structure, in this sort of times per day, in this type of a way. It's hard to compare it to anything because there isn't anything to compare it to, and you can't even really try and compare it to an Ironman or a double Ironman or an Ultraman or a Deca or anything like that, because the body's loaded in a completely different way. Which I think is the other side of things for me, is why it hadn't sunk in, or why I don't sort of...
Yeah, because you don't know, you don't have anything to compare it to. That's what I'm saying. Like when I did an Ultraman, I was like, wow, I did this thing that other people have done. And then I'm like, well, now I can kind of say, well, I'm sort of like in that same camp, right? That I could do what those people did, but you did something that's like you don't have another camp to jump into to say that all. But are you thinking about making this a thing for other people to do? Like,
before I did it, yes.
Yeah.
After I've done it, no.
It's too hard.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a testament of how hard that was then. Yeah.
Maybe not. I think the most hardest thing was the logistics of it.
Yeah.
Like you'll find out, because as I said, the documentary is going to come out next year, and I don't want to give too many things away, but we had a few run-ins with the law, and we had to jump on a few motorways on the bike, which is totally illegal. So to make it not illegal and legitimate for someone to, say if I organise it and someone just did it through me, and I wanted to create this as a challenge, the logistics of it is very difficult. If someone wants to do it and do something similar, get in touch and I'll give you the advice and I can help you out. But in terms of me creating it as a challenge for people to do, I won't be doing it because it's just too difficult for me to do logistics-wise, and I'll tell you right now, 12 days is too short. If you actually weren't going to break the law and get on motorways and have run-ins with the police and stuff like that, because you'd have to make the bike leg a lot longer.
Yeah, the times that I've done my own stuff, I don't tell anybody. I don't tell the local authorities I'm doing it at all. And then I try to get as far as I can without getting in trouble because of the logistics. Yeah.
But if I'm organising an event,
yeah, you got to tell them. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and also because people say, "Oh, could you do it a race?" And I can't make it a race because the swim through the Gibraltar Strait because for a safety point of view, they only allow. I think the organisers say you're only allowed 4 people in the water at once, and they all have to stay within 20 yards from the first person to the back person. So you can't call it a race because you can say, "Okay, we're going to have 4 people in there at a time, but you all have to swim together." Well,
I wonder if you
can't do that. So
have you seen that thing with the Catalina Island swim and then you bike starting from LA and then run up whatever? And have you noticed that the rules and what's actually going on is real vague? And I wonder if that's the reason why, is because you can't really make it into a race.
Yeah, because because it's more of a challenge for yourself, and you've got your own crew. Right. So it's basically someone's come up with the concept, or someone's done it. I don't know the ins and outs, but I know exactly what it is. Someone's come up with this concept and said, "Okay, go and do this. Here's sort of the general logistics and the ideas of it, but you all have to organise it yourself." And I'm guessing GPS somehow they show that they did it, but because it's you do it yourself. You organise it and then you go and do it.
All right, real quick, I want to give a shout out to livingfuel.com. This is a really cool company. They make all kinds of neat stuff, and they sent me a sample pack twice now, long time ago, and it takes forever to go through all this stuff, so you really get a good bang for your buck. It's so nutritious that it takes a long time to eat it all. The latest thing I'm going through, they have these little snack packs that have coconut and chia in them, which are really cool. Those taste really, really good. And then there was a study that showed that if you eat fish oil, that you burn it was somewhere between 10 and 20% more calories just resting. It speeds up your metabolism, the fish oil does. And they make those. And I think it's about 2 or 3 capsules of their fish oil capsule, their omega capsules that will do the trick. And also, let's see, what else? Their shakes. They got a green shake, which I blew through that really quick because I love green shakes. And then they got a berry shake, which you can tell it's really powerful when you drink that. And let's see, what else do they make? Oh, the thing I want to say, they make an amino acid powder. It's kind of like hornet juice, but it's just straight amino acid. And amino acids do not taste good. So they don't claim that this tastes good. So you're supposed to mix it with other stuff. You know what I found out that's really funny? Is sometimes after a workout, I'll have a glass of wine. It's my reward for it really helps me get through a workout. I'm like, man, just finish this workout, you can have a glass of wine. And after a workout, some carbs is really good. But wine is just straight carbs. And I had this crazy idea. I'm like, okay, wine tastes really good, but it's just carbs. Livingfuel.com amino acids do not taste very good, but they're good for you, and it's protein. So what if I mix the protein from this? It's just a little scoop, just a little scooper. And what if I mix that with my wine after my workout, which is supposed to be like a really smart thing to protein and carbs, your 4-to-1 ratio of carbs to protein. And so I've tried it a couple times now, and it's pretty freaking good. And I got my little wine, it helps me go to bed. I'm just like, boom, right? I do not think Living Fuel would promote me saying that I've done that. But hey, we got to find our own way through all this training crap and stuff that works. You always look at the macros and the micros, and then what needs to get done, and then do it in a way that works. Crazy, crazy thing. So check them out, livingfuel.com. They are a great sponsor of the show. They've been around for a while now and helping me out. They've been around for a long time. Really good story behind them. Go check them out. The website has their story about how they got started, and I absolutely love it. Super healthy food. Get it done. All right, back to our interview with Luke. Here we go. So how are you doing now? Are you able to walk straight yet, or you still got a limp?
I got rid of the crutches, I think, just over a week and a half ago. Okay. So I was on them for 2.5-3 weeks post event.
Yeah.
Had a scan, all good, just a tear, so that's nice.
Man, you were on crutches for 2 weeks. How many weeks? Two?
About 2.5 weeks in total.
That's a long time, man. You were pretty banged up.
Yeah. And then I got rid of them and just walking and just doing some rehab stuff, just some light stretching now, a bit of massage to try and lengthen out the muscle and get the fibers attached.
Yeah.
Just a bit of movement, so just a bit of flexion, extension. And now I'm here in LA and doing daily walks on the beach, which is good. So get a bit of proprioception working, get the muscles to sort of fire in different ways. But no, you wouldn't know. Like I can walk comfortably now. I can walk up and down stairs without any pain. But in terms of running or cycling, I'm still going to give that a few more weeks before I try. Yeah. But the other thing is, people said, "Oh, why don't you just go and swim?" Because I'm a bit frustrated because I've not really done any training.
Yeah.
But during the swim, I strained my shoulder, so I'm actually going to see my specialist on Thursday. And I think what's happened is I've got an impingement in my shoulder from the swim when I was trying to sprint through the tides. So I can't even swim because right now I can't lift my arm over my head without pain. So I went pretty hard during the Ultimate Triathlon, I must admit.
I hope people are listening to this this is a really good interview for people to listen to when they're going to do something longer than they've ever done before, of what that's like on the body. How you get, like you said, you change one little thing. You travel with your bike, for example. People, when I went to Spain last time, somebody started getting really bad knee pain or something like that on the bike riding after a day or two, and I said, check. Okay, is your seat height the same? Yes, seat height is the same. I said, check your cleats, and the cleats had moved on her shoe, and then bang, all kinds of horrible knee pain. So one little change, when you start going day after day, it can really jack you up. And then having to sprint through currents, right? Or climb up extra hills that you weren't planning on. Wow. So what's next?
If I had $1 for every time someone asks me that, I'd go and buy an island somewhere. What's next? I told myself that I would not make any decisions until January. Okay. So I have basically a list as long as my arm of crazy challenges and adventures and things that I've made up over the last few years that I've just wrote down, that I'll go through and look at that. But right now it's about promoting the Ultimate Triathlon and telling as many people as I can about it, because I started this journey into endurance sports to live my life every day and create this brand that I have now, to show others and try and be a beacon for others to live their life every day and to inspire to try and get out of their own comfort zone on a daily basis. And I'm not talking just athletic feats. I'm talking try a different type of food. If you wanted to do an art class your entire life but you've never actually signed up, I want to inspire someone to go and do that, or try something different or do something different, or put down your phone at lunchtime and eat for the first 30 minutes and then go for a walk for 30 minutes after, rather than just checking Facebook. Just live life and enjoy it, because before I started doing endurance sports, I was a broken down soccer player with many injuries and I was battling with depression, which is still with me to today, but I've got sort of a hold on it. And I wasn't living life and I wasn't enjoying myself, and I started doing endurance sports and got into it, doing really ultra extreme stuff, and I was like, wow, this is living. So
it is,
I don't necessarily want other people to go and don't do crazy stuff. If they want to, go for it, but just to right down to the basic thing of just living your life every single day. And that's the message I'm trying to get across through motivational speaking and talks that I do, and blogging and stuff that I've got going on as well. And I train other athletes and just trying to get them to try and push themselves a little bit more at the same time. And then in January, I'll sit down with a calendar and a pen and paper and go, right, what the hell am I going to do?
Yeah. What are your top 3 happiest moments during the event?
Top 3. Happiest moment would have probably been...
Like our funniest stuff, thing that made you laugh or smile the most.
Top moment was finishing, just because I'd accomplished what I'd set out. Some of the funniest moments was we had a a megaphone, like the megaphone that
Oh, no.
people yell into and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So we had that. So my crew, they came up with this megaphone right next to me, and they had a siren on the megaphone. So they had all these little gadgets and had the siren going. And then he turned the siren down, and the guy who was in the car goes, "This is the endurance police. Do not stop. Do not slow down. We believe you're about to commit a serious endurance crime. Keep pedaling, keep pedaling." So it was stupid stuff like that. It was just hilarious.
Yeah, those are really fun. Yeah.
And I think probably one of the funniest moments as well was after the second day. So I'd done the big swim and the cycle, and then 2 massive big cycles. And I got up the next day, and I said to my girlfriend, who was in the same room as me, who was getting my breakfast ready for me or getting me ready for the day, and I said, "Oh, can I have 3 spoons?" And she's like, 3 spoons? I said, "Yeah, I can have 3 spoons." And we had big plastic containers full of food and equipment stuff in the room. And she goes, "Okay." And it must have been like 2 or 3 minutes later, she came up to me and gave me 3 spoons. So only 2 or 3 minutes later. And I grabbed the spoons and I said to her, "What are these for?" She goes, "You asked for 3 spoons." I said, "No, I didn't. Why would I want 3 spoons? That's ridiculous." But I go back now and I can remember asking her for 3 spoons. Why? No one knows. So the whole joke for the entire trip was, "Luke, do you need 3 spoons or are you okay?"
We'll give you 3 spoons. Yeah. Wow, man. So, all right. So, how can people get in touch with you? You're on a promotion circuit, like letting people know about this, and how can they get you to swing by?
I've done my little trip around the US at the moment, but hopefully, if enough people want me to come back and do a few talks and stuff, they can get in contact with me. Any websites, the luketibursky.com or theultimatetriathlon.co, and all my details are on that. You can send me an email, or I'm on social media. It's Luke Tibursky on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Drop me a line, and if you want to talk about doing a talk get me to do a talk for you, get in touch and we can work that out. And if you're an athlete and you want to get into some ultra endurance stuff, give me a buzz, because I train athletes all around the world and get them to achieve their goals. Or if you just want to call me a nutcase and think what I did was cool, send me a message or whatever, and I'll always reply.
Well, I think you've created a new level of endurance where, how hard did you go? Somebody say you can take it to 11 or something, but you can say 3 spoons. If you go 3 spoons deep, then that's tight. That's as hard as you went. You can't remember why you asked for 3 spoons. That's pretty hardcore. Yeah. And
then if you push yourself that hard and you don't remember cycling for a couple hours, and the next thing you know, you wake up in a foreign hotel room, still with your cycling kit on, with a pounding headache and no recollection of how you got there, that's definitely 3 spoons level.
That is rare, dude. That is really pushing yourself, man. You've got the mental game down to be able to do that for sure. You're made for this.
Yeah. And I've had a few people say to me, "Oh, well, do you think you weren't fit enough?" And they caught me off guard, because it's a bit like asking me that I'm not fit enough because of the amount of stuff that I've done. And I just thought to myself, and then literally about 2 minutes, I went, "Hang on. I did 50 hours of training in 6 weeks and felt fine after that, only 8 weeks before I started."
Yeah.
I don't think not being fit enough was the problem. I just think it was one of these things, because people who saw me after that training block didn't believe that I actually did it. I was fine. I was walking around. I was functioning as per normal. It was all good.
Yeah.
And I don't think I could have trained any harder for this. It was just unfortunate, one of those things that happened.
Yeah, I've run into that a lot, where things happen and then you don't have the race that you want, and then you ask yourself, well, was I fit enough? And yeah, you were. It's something else happened, and and honestly, the whole thing, racing is just validation of your fitness. The whole goal is to get that fit, and like the saying goes, the best kind of running training is to train for a marathon but never race it. And that way you don't have the injuries of race day, but you got yourself into amazing shape. So
that's right. And I go back and think about that block, that 50 hours in 6 days, and it was amazing, because at the end of it I felt great. As I said, go go onto my website, tibursky.com, and on videos, and you'll see or even on the Ultimate Triathlon videos, you'll see the 50-hour in 6-day training block. And, you know, it was good fun, and I enjoyed it, and I felt great afterwards. So that's sort of validation to me that I was good to go.
That actually, you know, that might be your second greatest accomplishment ever. And to put that in perspective, the guy that won the overall age grouper at Kona, that was his peak training. He managed to get up to 50 hours of training a week. And I don't know how often he did it, but he managed to do it at least once. And that got him, and it wasn't, that's why I was asking you, like, how hard were you going? He was just cruising along, just easy, you know? And that level of fitness got him first place at Kona out of all the age groupers, first non-pro. So you can put that kind of in the back of your mind. That's like the potential that you kind of had going on there. It's amazing.
Well, we'll see about that.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, it's been great.
Yeah, Brett, it's been awesome to connect again, buddy.
Yeah. All right. Talk to you later.
All right, Brett. See you later.
All right, super cool. Thank you, Luke. That is quite an accomplishment and way to keep going in spite of injury. I've had plenty of injuries lately, which I'll update you with here in a minute. But let me give you the website for Luke. It's theultimatetriathlon.co, not C-O-M, but just C-O. theultimatetriathlon.co. And the part of the story, the hobbling with the busted up leg is one thing, but that part where he had to go the other way or something with the swim across the Gibraltar Strait, Strait of Gibraltar, that's a bad sign right from the beginning. We're just like, holy crap, you know. And he comes from a soccer background, not a swimming background, so that is quite an impressive accomplishment. That swim, I think that part blew me away more than anything else. That's very substantial. Big props to him, man. Crazy. All right, let's go ahead and get started with the training log. And here's the music bit for those of y'all that love it. Here we go.
You are entering the ZenTri training log zone. Huneli.
Hi everybody, my name is Brett. I'm a triathlete.
I decided it's time I got some friends more suited to my status.
But Joe, we've been friends for years.
Hey, we all make mistakes. Come on, dudes, let's go exercise! Exercise! Yeah! I'm gonna do sit-ups till I poop myself!
All right, this episode, I didn't really take my microphone along with me and record a lot of workouts because I've been injured. I've been banged up pretty badly, and just a whole variety of things. And one thing is chosen on purpose to be timed right about now, but which I'll get to in a second. So let's go ahead and cover some of that. First off, I want to do a little review on knucklelights. So when I started doing trail running, my trail running godfather, Chris Matus, who's got an extensive background in this stuff, told me one of the best things to do is hold a light down low. And if you hold it down low, it throws a shadow better, and it's better than a headlamp because a headlamp doesn't throw a shadow behind the object for your eyes to see because it's right in line with your eyes, so you can't see the shadow behind it. So if you can hold your lights down low, then you'll be way better off and see stuff while you're running at night. And if you remember from the previous episode or so, I fell down while running. I tripped over a chain. I went and found it. It's a chain stretched across a road, and I tripped over a chain and put my arms out in front of me and ended up breaking my left arm, and it broke the radius bone at the tip of the bone, and it has jacked up my arm big time. I had to go to the emergency room. I've been going to the all kinds of doctors and stuff. I cannot straighten out my left arm. It is bent. It might be bent permanently for the rest of my life. When I reach for things, as a swimmer, I can actually hyperextend my right arm pretty easily. I think most of us probably can. I'm just used to doing it swimming. And I got a good 2-3 inches more reach with my right arm than I do with my left now. I look kind of wonky walking around, and it is painful. It still is, even though this has been like a month or two since this happened. Maybe 2 months. Anyway, it's a mess, man, and it sucks. It really, really sucks. So I'd like to thank the people who've come out to support me and tell me that they've had the same or similar injuries, and that they're okay or mostly okay. I had a thread on Slow Twitch that got started up asking about it, what to do. And therapy is a big deal. It may take a year, if ever, that I get full function in my arm back. And it's just a nightmare. So, oh man. And then the stories of people that they've tripped or fallen on their bike and broken both arms this way. I couldn't. It's only been in the past couple of weeks where I can actually touch my left hand to my left ear. Imagine that. It feels like there's a painful wad of cotton jammed into my elbow, and I can't bend my elbow all the way, and I can't straighten my elbow all the way. Couldn't wipe the crack of my ass after, doing number 2 with my left hand. I can't do freaking anything with my left hand. I still can't play guitar. I can't, because my hand just won't freaking twist. Can't get headphones in and out of my ear. I can't steer my car with my left hand. I'm just a mess, man. So it sucks. Every day I get just the tiniest bit better. I've started lifting weights. I was swimming for a while, and that was going somewhat better. Oh man, God! But sometimes I felt like I re-broke it and stuff, and and I think I actually broke another bone in my wrist doing all this, and we just never really knew it. I also broke my right toe trying to stop myself from falling down. It's called turf toe when you do that. You put so much stress on your toe, you break your toe. Trying to stop yourself from falling down. And so I had broken my left arm, my right toe, and then also at the training for the Ultra Baby, the self-supported Ultraman I did, I managed to develop a rampant case of plantar fasciitis. That's the tendons on the underside of your feet start burning and being painful to walk on, especially in the morning. And then it got so bad in my left foot that my left heel feels like I've got a heel spur, which the doc says is really just, a lot of people say, is really just plantar fasciitis, just really bad in the left foot. So with all this crazy crap going on, I took some time off running. But I couldn't run. I went out and ran, and then I re-broke my right toe. And then terrified to run at night. So one time I went out at night. When I finally got to where I could run again, I went and found where I fell down and had a moment. I stood there with that chain across the road and just looked at it like, it's you and me now. But I always think that you should face your fear. And it devastated me, like this injury. I mean, it really rocked my world. I might not ever be the swimmer that I used to be because I can't use my left arm hardly like I used to. And then I've gone to the gym, like I said, and started trying to lift some weights. When I first started out, I could lift maybe a third of the weight, and this is waiting about a month. I lift maybe a third of the weight I could with my right hand, and then eventually got up to about half the weight, and now I'm just over half the weight, maybe like 3/5 the weight with my left hand, with my left arm that I can do with my right. So, I mean, there's a little bit of progress, but it's still freaking, it's bad, man. And then, so yeah, I'm just a mess. I'm an absolute mess rolling around. And then, so when I finally started going out and running again, while I was waiting, I went and bought knuckle lights, because the reason I tripped was I was running in the freaking dark like an idiot. And even though there's street lights and stuff, still there's sections where, street lights don't light up the street, between the street lights, and that's where I tripped. And knuckle lights are lights that you kind of wear them across your knuckles, like brass knuckles, and that way your hands are still pretty much open. I'd say you got about 80%. 90% of the full functionality of your hands. The lights are down low, so they throw a nice shadow. There's the set, God, maybe it was like $30 or $40. Includes both lights. They're waterproof-ish. They're sweat and rain resistant. And then they run on AAA batteries, so they're easy to replace the batteries. They've got flashing modes and so anyway, I wanted to give a quick review. They're great. They're actually pretty freaking good, man. And then Right now, I ran with both of them a few times, and now I'm running with just one because I'm running pretty much where there's about half lit by streetlights, so I don't need the light all the time. And it's nice, man. I freaking like them a lot. So go check them out, knucklelights.com. They seem so different and so almost kooky that you think it might just be a gimmick, but it's not. They're actually really good. So if I was doing an ultra race now where we ran through the night, I'd probably use them, I think. And I think they're definitely worth the investment, especially because they don't cost all that much. They're pretty cool. All right, and let's move on to the plantar fasciitis in the foot. The heel spur is really, really dangerous, bad stuff. And you gotta, man, that stuff can get just worse and worse and worse. That's calcification of where the tendon attaches under the heel. So you gotta, once you know that that's what that is, you gotta really be proactive and work on that. And so I've been sleeping about half the time in a boot that you can wear that keeps your foot stretched out overnight, your toes more pointed up, so that it doesn't heal in the crunched position, so that when you get up in the morning, it doesn't hurt when you walk around. And I've been doing that for a while, and boy, that is clunky. So I got a broken toe on one foot, a boot on the other. I can't use my left arm in the other. And then Emily's just laughing at me in bed. I'm just a freaking mess. And then she said, oh, she didn't say anything. She's like, get away from me. That's what she says. But the this morning was the first run where it barely hurt at all running. And I got up in the morning and ran. And then a couple of days ago, see, today's Tuesday, on Sunday, I did a longer workout. I did 2 hours on the bike, kind of easy to moderate, on the on the trainer, doing Zwift, which has been just a ton of fun. And then a 1 hour run, so like a 3 hour brick workout. Sorry, free birds. And my foot hardly bothered me at all, and I think the bike ride before the run actually stretched things out, so everything was nice. So yeah, it's still very injury prone, and I have to run very easy and just kind of keep things cool. I got to keep it real cool, man, so I don't mess things up. But I think I'm on the upswing with that. Races coming up is Galveston 70.3 in April, and the Ironman Canada this summer. So my plan was to be not like this right now, but we're still way far away. So that's where we're going. And then on top of all that, we had scheduled, there's a tattoo. And the thing is there's, in our town, there's one guy, there's probably more than one, but there's one guy that's really, 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 really good. In fact, he's so good, the waiting list to see him, if you're going to do anything more than like, I don't know, a smiley face, then was it 2 months? I think it was a 2-month waiting list, maybe 3 months. So anyway, Emily's been wanting me to start a tattoo sleeve, forever. And I've always kind of wanted one. So with my injury and it being after the Ultra Baby, taking some time off and over Christmas break, we set up, we called, and then they're like, yeah, it'll be like forever from now, but go ahead and get on the waiting list. I got on the waiting list, and so things are kind of working out a little bit wise. And so I went in and got the tattoo started, and it's ocean, the Japanese crashing wave, which is really cool because I love all the water stuff, and I've done so much water stuff. And but on my right shoulder and chest a little bit, quite a bit, and then down into my arm to just below my bicep with a bonsai tree and a wave and clouds and a tiger that is climbing up the tree, kind of sideways looking, and with kind of a fearsome looking face on the tiger. And what I did is I went online. I created a Pinterest account, which makes me feel real manly, to go collect pictures of tattoos that I like. And so I went into the tattoo artist for our consultation and showed him all the different stuff that I liked and the style that I liked. And he said, "Oh, traditional Japanese, this, that." And I said, "I like this guy's, I like the size of this one, but I don't like what it is. But I like what this one is, but I want it over here. And I like this and that and the other." It was really cool with a MacBook Air to sit there and show him what I really, really liked. And so then I went in for the tattoo session, and it's going to take multiple sessions. And this last one was 2.5 hours long, and it went up under my arm and across my collarbone, for example. And it was literally the most painful thing I've ever experienced in my entire life. It's not my first tattoo, but it's holy crap. First off, when they're tattooing your collar across your collarbone, it feels like they're drilling into your ear. He said he talks like Tom Brady, the bad guy in The Revenant. The guy's from he's from Madisonville, Texas. Which, like, now this is gonna feel like I'm way up on your neck when I'm not. Okay. He's like, okay. I was like, holy crap, man. Oh, whoa. And I was crushing a grip ball in one hand. My hands were sweating. I thought I was gonna pee myself for a little bit, and he's doing up under my arm, and I'm like, I don't remember really signing up for it being up under my arm. I kind of wanted the underarm to be okay, and then I get allergy shots, and on the outside of my arm, totally fine, didn't bother me at all. But anyway, you can't go swim 2 weeks after you get a tattoo, because you could pick up an infection or something like that. And so we did 2.5 hours, and then 2 weeks, which I'm wrapping up week 1. I'm starting week 2, Tuesday of week 2 right now. And then I'll get back in the pool. And then we got some time where I can get back in and train and keep doing therapy on my arm. Swimming's really good for working on my broken arm therapy. But right after you get a tattoo, you got to cover it in all this lotion and crap like that. And so now we've got the boot on the left foot, the broken right toe, the broken left arm that won't bend right and sticking up in the air, hanging off the left side of the bed. And now my right arm covered in kind of like A&D ointment. It's kind of like Vaseline with saran wrap. And I was just laying there. And, man, I got into a real funk, man. I was just like, ugh, life sucks, dude. I am just coming apart. This is not good. And Emily's like, "Oh, you'll be fine." I'm like, "No, I know I'll be fine, but I still need some sympathy here, man. I'm a human, and this is rough, dude. I am not doing all that well." And then I went through. I still am a little bit through the ups and downs of getting a tattoo, and if it's big enough, it really changes your identity of who you are and how people treat you and stuff, and it's really cool. It's the upside of Zen, of studying Zen for so long, is you learn not to judge, you learn to just observe and watch your feelings change as you go. So like sometimes I'll look at my tattoo, and right now it's just like the wireframe of the tattoo. It's like the outline of stuff. It's real primitive looking because it needs to be shaded and all that. And I'll be like, "Oh man, that looks cool." And then I'll be like, "Man, I look like an idiot. Well, I'm too old for this." And then I'll be like, "Oh man, that's cool." And then it's really interesting when it surprises you. You forget you have one, and then you take off your shirt while you're changing in the bathroom, and then you look up and you're like, "Oh yeah, I got that tattoo." And when it's a surprise, you really get to see your real emotions, And I've noticed that I'll be like, "Hey, maybe I should lift up my shirt sleeve a little bit so that person over there can see my tattoo, so they think I'm cool, and then other times I'm like, oh man, I need to hide this thing. I don't want to scare this parent that I've got this tattoo and they think I'm like, like a bad guy or something like that. So it's really fascinating. But then what I've learned is, you shouldn't believe the thoughts in your mind. They're just emotions and they're temporary. And I'll watch my opinions of myself like come and go and change. It's really, really interesting. And all I have to do is just wear, the right kind of shirt at work and nobody can see it. So the tattoo progress continues, and we'll cover that over some future episodes. And let me see if I have anything else I want to mention here. I got some book recommendations for you. Over the past few weeks, I've picked up the audiobook version. You can hear me clicking here as I pull it up on my phone, of some great books that I wanted to recommend to you. Where'd they go? Here we go. Hope it doesn't crash the recording. Okay, the one I'm listening to latest is Sit Down and Shut Up by Brad Warner, which is a really good Zen book. And he might be a Zen master. I'm not sure if he is or not. I think he is, just based on his mindset and the way he talks. And hold on, I got something popping up. I don't know what that is. Go away. And he wrote Dharma Punks. I believe he wrote Dharma Punks. And he is an American punk rock bassist, but he's about 50 years old. But he also used to work in Japan and studied under some Zen masters. And he goes back and forth talking about being a musician and also in America, and then also being immersed in Japanese culture and what that was like working for the same companies that make like Godzilla movies and stuff, and also studying under a Japanese Zen master and several of them, I think, and talking about some Zen lessons. It's really cool. And let's see, the Productivity Project, where a guy spent a year or so trying every single productivity trick that he could think of and how he narrowed down stuff that worked and what didn't work. That's pretty cool. Smile at Fear, which might be a Buddhist book, by Chogyam Trungpa, and I just really like it. It's just a really good book. And then Deep Work by Cal Newport, and it's about sinking deep into a project and really wanting it and getting it done. It's pretty neat. So those are 4 books for you. The Smile at Fear reminds me, on my tattoo, the tiger symbolizes, to me, because everything can mean different things to different people. I got a friend with koi fish on his sleeve, on his arm, and the different fish represent he and his wife and his kid, right? But the tiger to me represents fear, because it's got a fearsome face on it, and how my life has gotten so much better since whenever I realize I'm afraid of something, I attack it. Like, I don't really attack it, but I make sure that I go conquer that fear as soon as I can. Like when I broke my arm tripping over that chain, it really scared me, and it really changed my life for the foreseeable future, and it's scary. And so I went and ran the first time that I could. I went and visited that chain at night and sat there with it for a good minute or two, just sitting there with that chain, looking at it, going, "I'm not afraid of you, I'm here, you're there, you're not going to rule my life, and we're gonna face off here until I decide to walk away." And I did. And that's a little bit of how I operate. And so anyway, that's Smile at Fear, which is a really good book. Okay, and let me pop open this right here. Man, I got pop-ups going. Let's see, my weight has been creeping up because, one, I haven't been able to train because of all the injuries and the tattoo stuff. And also, I haven't been eating all that healthy because it's over Christmas, and been letting myself go a little bit since I just finished a freaking Ultraman. So I'm like, dude, you've earned a little bit of break. And all the overtraining and stuff, you need to let your systems, you need to take a break and maybe put on some fat, make sure all your reservoirs are topped off. There's a lot of hormones and all this kind of stuff that goes on, reserves that you need to fill up before you deplete them too drastically. And but so recently I started doing just been only 2 days green smoothies again, and I thought I'd tell you how real quick. I've got a Vitamix. I guess you could do like a Ninja Bullet or something like that. It needs to be simple so that you can do it day after day after day without much work. I throw in fistfuls of kale, usually without the stems, always without the stems, and carrot, baby carrots, typically, because they're already packaged up. Baby carrots and a banana and an orange, peeled orange. And that was yesterday's. Today I added some chia seeds and a little bit of hemp powder. It does not taste anywhere near as good as yesterday's did. And blend it up with some water. If it's not sweet enough, maybe add a little bit of apple juice until you can stand it. And then pour it into something that has like a pop top on it that seals pretty good. I've got an Nalgene bottle with a screw top lid, but also that has a little pop top thing on it. And then right after you make your smoothie, rinse out the blender ASAP, right that moment. And then you don't have to spend forever cleaning it and scrubbing it with soap all the time if you rinse it out right after you make the smoothie. And then throw some ice in your smoothie jar, bottle, and then you're good to go for quite a while. It'll last the rest of the day. It'll be good. And let's see. I'm going to leave you with a productivity tip after we do our donations. Let's see, we've had a bunch of show supporters since the last episode. I wanted to mention, I don't put out a show unless I have something to say. And I've never done shows on a schedule since day one of 10, 11 years ago. I do shows when they ought to be done. And that's a very Zen thing. It's if something doesn't need to be done, don't do it. If something needs to be done, do it now. And I even the other day tweeted that be wary of the advice on shows that are done on that are like a tips and advice podcast that are done on a regular schedule, because they'll put out tips and advice that really aren't all that good just because they have to fill the schedule. If they got a every Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule, or every Wednesday they do this and that, some of the advice out there is just crap they're grabbing from the internet. Or the guest sucks and they're just grabbing somebody. So I don't feel bad about not putting out shows sometimes because I'm waiting for stuff to pile up, and right now we're in a little bit of a down spot in the northern hemisphere with triathlon, and that's okay. That's the way things go. A peach seed will grow into a peach tree. You can't rush it. It does it on its own time, as they said in Kung Fu Panda. All right, show donations. You can help support Zen and the Art of Triathlon by going to zentriathlon.com and donating on the left-hand side if you find the stuff in this show to be helpful or you like it and you want to help keep it on the air. And here are some recent donors, a lot of them recurring. You can set up a recurring donation. It's pretty cool. Allison Frutos, Matthew Froese, Houston Marsh, and Alexander Bromage, who I coach, awesome guy, and Ken Soderquist, El Senor, out of Europe, I suppose, Chad, in fact, a lot of these people are from all over the world, it's really cool, Chad Jamrazi, Michael Radogna, Brett Hoyer, the coolest first name in triathlon, Matthew Heinz, how's it going, dude, Brian Kemper, Todd Nelson, Simon Wright, Daniel Clemens, James Godek, Richard Stewart, and Hun Chu. Hun Chu I used to coach, and he recently broke free because he graduated, is the way I like to put it. I taught him how to train. He really improved his results, and he said, you know what, I think I can train myself now. And I said, you have not made me upset by saying that, and two, you've made me proud, which means I've released another smart triathlete out into the wild. And actually coming up really soon, I'm gonna have a spot for one more person. I'm coaching a guy right now that's going to do an attempt at the Rocky Raccoon 100, and I don't know if he's going to continue after that. He might be a mess after that race, because that race is really, really difficult, and a 100-mile ultra run. And I might have a spot opening up to coach somebody. I tend to coach only about 2, 3, 4 people at a time. That way I keep the numbers low, but I keep the quality really high. And the way I coach is I review every single workout. I design every workout by hand. I don't just dump workouts in and see what happens. I give you stuff for a few days, and then we talk, and then we see how you're doing, and then I give you more stuff for like a few days to a week, and then we see how you're doing, and then we keep working towards your goal. So that's my little coaching plug right there. I also need to mention Hornet Juice. Hornet Juices have been a long-time sponsor of the show. You can check them out on the right side of ZenTriathlon.com. It's an amino acid powder that metabolizes your fat to help you get better fat burning out of your body, and the stuff is crazy good. I've been using it for years, and people will initially buy like the starter pack, which is like 10 Hornet Juices, and then they come back and order like 30 or 60 because like, holy crap, this stuff is amazing. Doesn't have any caffeine or any kind of pep in it like that. It's a blend of amino acids that, again, your body sees it and it goes, oh, this means I need to metabolize some body fat, and it is literally like a diesel engine has been turned on in your body, and it becomes so much easier to go longer in your races or in your long workouts with less perceived effort, but you keep looking down at your speedometer or your running pace or your watt meter and going, how am I doing this? This is amazing. I'm 3 hours in and I feel like I'm only 20 minutes in. I feel like I could go forever. It's the Hornet Juice, man. It is awesome. So again, check that out on the right-hand side of ZenTriathlon.com. And I want to wrap it up with something else. I listen to a lot of podcasts about productivity and inspirational stuff and just reorganizing your life and trying to get the most out of life. And there's so many podcasts out there that are so good. I'd like to include ZenTri as one of those. And I don't even remember which one it was. It happened so fast that all I could do was later in the day write it down what was said when I grabbed a notepad. And basically the gist is this. This is about habit building and improving yourself. So with triathlon and with everything, pretty much anything is a habit, right? You're just trying to change your habits. You have a habit of eating a green smoothie every day. So yeah, let's do the green smoothie or working out, right? You're trying to start working out in the afternoons. You already work out in the morning, but now you got a race coming up and you want to work out in the afternoons as well. Or you're trying to drink less coffee in the evening is what I'm doing. So the trick was you have to work on a habit long enough until you feel like you have something to lose. This is really interesting. So the way the mind works is we're more afraid of losing something than we are of gaining it. Losing something is bad. Gaining something is kind of right? You're already alive and you're breathing if you're listening to this. So things are actually kind of okay. They're not terrible. And the way they've proven this is psychologists and experiments will say, okay, I'm going to do rock, paper, scissors, and if you lose, I'm going to take away $10, but if you win, I'm going to give you 20, right? Well, even though the winning $20 is twice as much money as losing $10, the people will get pissed twice as much if they lose than if they win. And you're like, man, that doesn't work out. That doesn't the math doesn't work. Why do people get so notice and get so upset over losing than they do with winning? And it's like, yeah, well, losing can be you're pulling away a known quality of life that's good that you already are enjoying, and winning something just. It's kind of like, I was okay before that, so the extra's nice, but I don't need it, right? So with habit changing, you have to work on a habit long enough until it's part of your identity, and then if you stop the habit, then you're losing something, right? If you don't do it long enough, then it's still too new, and it's like you're not losing it. So let's say not drinking. Oh, let's do the green smoothie thing. So if I've just started drinking green smoothies and then I don't drink a green smoothie, I'm like, whatever. I'm not really a person that drank green smoothies anyway. I'm not losing anything. Now, if I've been drinking green smoothies for like 3 weeks, then I've learned to self-identify as I'm somebody that drinks green smoothies, right? And now if I don't drink one, well, now I'm kind of like, oh, I'm losing part of my identity, right? And so that really strikes at your heart. And then you're less inclined to stop because you don't want to lose something that you already are. Whew. I know that's a little bit complicated. You may need to go back and listen to that one again. You don't want to lose something that you are. And so all you have to do is work on something until you have to put the effort in long enough until you kind of self-identify as that thing, that person. You're somebody that doesn't drink coffee after noon, or you're somebody that drinks a green smoothie every day, right? Or what was the other one? You're somebody that works out in the afternoons, right? So that's, you build that, you work on the habit. You have to put in the effort until you self-identify as one of those types. And then you're much less likely to stop because now you've got some momentum going and you don't want to lose it. All right. So that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for next one. I think I'm going to try to get the Ultraman guy and the Jocelyn McCauley in about Dubai 70.3 and what that was like. She's racing that this weekend, and we'll see whatever else happens. Cool? Everybody stay safe out there. Don't be like me and fall down. Work the uphills, work the uphills, cruise the downhills, and keep the rubber side down. Out.